What a big day today. So you're saying big day for you personally, which same, right? And then also big day in news. I'm excited about today's episode.
Yeah, this is our first time recording on a Monday.
Yeah.
So we got some like fresh weekend news. Storm had to make some extra time today to get some stuff lined up for us.
Also 7:30 today or 7 o'clock, one or the other. This is going to be very intense for you.
Yeah. So the reason that we're filming the episode early this week is because I'm supposed to be flying to Boston tomorrow, and I'll be gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is normally when we film Wednesday. And I'm supposed to be in Boston to watch Game 5 of the Celtics Nets series. And this is me, 3 games ago, purchasing tickets saying, oh, there's no way the Celtics are going to sweep the Nets in a 7-game series. And it turns out to be very possible. And I potentially will have to cancel my flights, accommodations, and my trip.
Why don't you just go anyway?
Because, a 3-day getaway with my buddy will get me in trouble with Kayla.
Why would it get you in trouble?
Because it's just, I'm not going for any real reason. I'm just going with, this is my first, listen.
We spent the money anyway.
No, I'm going to get refunded.
Why do you have to provide that information?
Well, here's the thing. So she knows because I used her credit card because of her credit card's cancellation protection. So I can cancel.
Does she listen to the pod or am I taking this out? Or?
No, she doesn't listen to the pod, so we're good.
But she doesn't listen to the podcast?
No, I don't think so.
So she should be the one in trouble.
Yeah,
she's the one in trouble.
She's going to get in shit for that.
Are you serious?
But the thing is, it's context. Like if I was a normal dude and, I was like, hey, I'm going to Boston still because my tickets were canceled, maybe I'd have an understanding partner. But I collectively we'll be taking more time off this week for this game than I've taken in the last 18 months. And I took a day off of work, Christmas, and a day off of work when my son was born. So
that's bad.
So context for her, for me to just not even the game not happen and I still just go to Boston and hang out with my buddy, she'd be like kind of pissed, because
I mean, arguably speaking, the context should already be bad. If
it is already bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was already bad to begin with, but this makes it worse.
Yeah. Well, why don't you take her with you?
To Boston?
Yeah.
Just tell Caden. Well, I can't. I got 3 kids at home and a baby, you can't travel 3-day trips. You can't do 3-day trips on planes with babies. Also, we don't have tickets for the kids and stuff.
Just store the kids somewhere.
Just put them in my carry-on.
Like a U-Haul or something.
Just go with Air Canada's carry-on fee.
Just dump them at Lewis's house since he's offering the advice.
I'll take them. Yeah, we got closets that we can put them in.
I want Lewis to have kids, so giving him my 3 would probably not be a good way
starting point. Yeah,
it might freak him out how much work it is. So, I won't get Lewis to babysit all 3 of them overnight. But I think you do great. I just
thank you. I'll do whatever it takes to get you and Kayla a nice.
So here's what's
vacation
happening
with Caden. Caden can
third wheel.
Caden can be your kid.
I don't need Caden to be my kid.
That'd be cute.
Push him around in the stroller.
Lee and Kayla holding Caden's hands and lifting him up in the air at the same time. Woo! Right over the sidewalk.
He's taller than both of them combined.
Yeah, he's doing that to us, and we're getting him ice cream. And do you want to get a picture with the players, Caden?
He's just all shy in front of them. Oh, he looks so cute, Caden.
So you wouldn't have to buy another ticket if he just sat on your lap, right? Like a kid would. So
yeah.
There you go.
True admission.
Your lap is going to be gone after that.
Excuse me, sir. This is actually my baby. Your baby is 6'2" and has a beard.
Benjamin Button. That's Benjamin Button.
But yeah, it's going to be intense. It's going to be me and Caden after the podcast are going to watch the game, and we're praying that my team, the Celtics, loses so we can continue our trip. And if not, we're going to cancel, and I'll be back to work on Tuesday.
I'm praying for you as well.
So Kevin Durant, if you're listening, please put in that work.
Yeah, show up today, please. Show up. But anyway, it is episode 11. We were gone last week without much notice. The reason was I was very sick with a stomach flu last week, and we just couldn't pull it together. We tried. I thought I'd get back to the office a couple days late. Didn't end up working out that way. So we're back after a week off.
Take the break that you so desperately need, right? That's the important part. And you come back even stronger.
Come back refreshed. Yeah, it'll be good. Really good. Actually, it's funny. 3 days off work last week and then 3 days off work this week. So
look at you.
I should come back with a new idea to change the world probably next week.
Or you should buy Twitter.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's roll that intro.
Welcome to the Fast Forward podcast, guys. I'm your co-host, Lee.
And I'm your co-host, Lewis, and welcome to the fastest growing Canadian tech podcast in the universe.
This week, we're going to be talking about Elon's new purchase, TikTok, and doctors in space.
Today's Rewind, we will be talking about Earth and when we decided to start celebrating it.
All right, let's get started, Lewis.
Roll the intro.
What's that?
I love just saying it. I love saying roll the intro.
You're going to have to let go of that, Lewis.
Speaking of being let go, let's hear about who let go of what.
Well, so the Twitter board is letting go of Twitter and all of their jobs. So breaking news today. Today's Monday. It's 5 p.m. And, all morning there was speculation that the Elon Twitter deal was going to go through, that the board was talking about it. And it was really speculated it was going well. Confirmation this afternoon that Elon has secured the approval to purchase Twitter in full and take the company private. Now, there aren't many more details than that for right now, as far as when the takeover will happen and who's losing their jobs. But ultimately, Elon Musk did buy Twitter successfully, which is kind of crazy.
That is nuts.
Yeah, and
I can't believe how I can't believe how that happens. Like a social media takeover, that's unheard of nowadays.
Well, when you think about Instagram and Facebook bought Instagram when it was very immature and bought it from the founders to put it inside of its own umbrella. But buying social media as a person.
Well, that's what it is, right?
It's really weird.
It's and also Instagram at the time was just a small little fish, Facebook being the shark that it was, it just ate it up, like that game where you eat the smaller fish.
Yeah.
So, but Twitter, you would assume is a big fish. Whenever you think of social media, it's arguably one of the first things you think of. So someone to just again buy it a big sum of cash, that's nuts.
Yeah. So Elon is literally a massive company, and his family business of Elon Musk, they just did a massive acquisition of a huge company, Twitter. An acquisition so big that other companies weren't even really talking about it. It just seemed too unrealistic for most businesses.
Remember when Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for how much was that?
70 billion, 69 billion?
It was 9 billion. Yeah. And that was huge, but it was also all right, well, Microsoft, right? Huge $1 trillion company, and Activision, one of the biggest gaming industry, biggest companies of all time. So that made sense, but 45 billion or whatever it was by one singular person on its own, that just beyond ludicrous. I can't even believe that he would do something like that.
I did check his Twitter and I saw his first tweet and I thought it was kind of interesting. There's even more.
Are we live reading tweets right now?
Let me read this live, what I just saw. So I don't even know what it says. So free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square. What matters vital to the future of humanity are debated, said Mr. Musk. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithm open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, authenticating all humans. Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it. And then he literally posted it with a bunch of rocket emojis and hearts, and he said yes.
So I see it right now.
And then, so anyway, what I was going to mention was the tweet I saw earlier. So yeah, I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter, because that is what free speech means. That's what he said, and that was 5 hours ago. I think that was just after, at noon, when the acquisition was kind of announced.
For sure.
What do you think? What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm just as skeptical as I was beforehand, right? A billionaire owning a social media platform, obviously that presents some issues, but I'm curious to see how this will either improve or not improve the platform. So only time will tell, I guess.
Lewis and I had the opportunity to actually discuss this on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because we actually had hung out after the game and just kind of talked about politics and a bunch of stuff. It was a great conversation. And he had mentioned that. So we won't get into the grass on this one, but I guess my stance on it is I hear what you're saying about a billionaire owning Twitter, and I think you have every right to be skeptical, because obviously you should always be skeptical. In this situation, I see one billionaire that's got values that at least he's sharing. I'm not sure if they're true. We'll never know, to be honest. He might just literally be really good at winning people
like a sociopath,
and just saying all the
psychopath,
right things. Like we'll never know. You can never know, even in your own partner and your own parents, what their deep inside intents are. That being said, he's put his values out there on the table, and the board members at Twitter really haven't done it the same way. They haven't been as vocal about how the vision they have for Twitter. And realistically speaking, Twitter is owned by multiple billionaires and billion-dollar corporations, like big private equity firms. So to me, it's moving from the hands of many incompetent so far and relatively low conviction entrepreneurs and owners to one entrepreneur and owner who I do believe has every intention of actually not owning it himself. So it's not going to really. I think the biggest change is not that Elon bought Twitter. I think that's the headline everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
The biggest headline is that Elon's going to be the new leader of Twitter and that it's going private. Because I do think that, so I've done some research on the loans and there's a lot of leverage. It's these loans that he's secured with like a dozen banks, dozen different banks, 2 of them from Canada. Canada actually surprisingly had the best rate. So their rate was like 1% or something,
Nice.
and the other ones were like between like 4 and 10. And he's like a bridge term loan as well, like a 10-year loan as well.
For the full 44 billion.
No, so parts of all of it. I think the biggest contributor was one of the big American banks, but no one, even Japan. I think 2 banks from Japan even participated in this. So it was that big of a, like, this is the thing. If one bank is bankrolling it. That's fine. Anyway, one bank bankrolling it. It's a lot of risk because if Twitter just goes to complete shit, like just crashes, falls apart, whatever, and then Tesla also falls apart, well, the bank's going to be holding the bag because that's what is securing the loan.
Yeah.
So a lot of risk on these loans and a lot of interest, $65 million nearly in fees just to do the deal in the first place. So far on paper, it's not looking good for Elon as far as the cost of doing this deal. So what I think he's doing is he's buying it completely himself, privately, and then he's going to pretty much just sell it back to a bunch of investors that he likes and he wants to bring onto the team. And he's going to have like pretty much like almost 2,000 probably investors that end up owning it. So the whole headline of like this one billionaire owning the company,
definitely not.
Is not. And also it would be tremendously bad for him financially. It would put him in a lot of risk. So I don't think that was ever really a logical outcome. And I think the people that are fixating on the one person, like, trying to, control the world narrative, I mean, he hypothetically could, but it would be really bad for him. Here's my left field, like crazy, probably not going to happen. Like I put a 5% chance on this happening theory. I was telling Storm about this earlier. I think Elon might NFT Twitter. And
I think he definitely won't.
No, not.
Let's hear though.
NFT the ownership of Twitter. So no, not the actual platform, but, and again, 5% chance of this happening. But if anyone would do it, I think Elon and Jack Dorsey, like with the whole blockchain shit, like I could see them, potentially doing this idea. And again, I don't believe it's likely, but I think it's kind of a cool, conspiracy theory. Anyway, I think, 2,000 investors would be coming on to own the company, and it's going private. So again, far left theory. What if he turned it into a DAO? What if he sold the rights to ownership, the shares, as part of a smart contract, and then did the governance through a decentralized autonomous organization versus typical private corporation?
I know that Elon Musk is like heavily against the Ethereum vibe when it comes to the decentralization and thinks it's all a scam. And
Ethereum or the blockchain,
not this necessarily the blockchain, because he owns a big stock of Doge and Bitcoin, but more specifically the tokens and what's come from the Ethereum network, essentially like NFTs. Very skeptical on the whole entire aspect of Web3, I guess as a whole. So unless he changes his mind, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard too much of his opinion on that stuff. I don't think it's like a public Ethereum NFT project. I think I don't know, Storm, do you know much about DAOs? Could he just do that on his own blockchain or create his own network to do that?
You can build a DAO on wherever.
Yeah. So I was just thinking more of the decentralized governance.
I don't
approach.
think so, because when you're a private entity, it almost you already are a centralized area. So by taking it private, it almost makes it pretty easy for you to be able to just do that voting system or whatever a DAO does.
And that
Right,
would
and-
make it less private too.
It would make it less
To,
private.
to your point.
Yeah.
Because it's public blockchain, right?
But like,
So-
that's what I'm wondering is like him taking a company private that used to be public. I wonder if like a DAO could have something like, where, because like, how do we want to, let's say
Like
we,
it passes down to like the public, what everyone voted for. type of
yeah,
thing.
like the 2,000 people all can like kind of really control things rather than a board. That's what I'm wondering. Like, would he get away from a board of directors and just have governance as as part of the investors? And again, like this isn't a theory to be scrutinized. I don't believe it's going to happen.
yeah,
I'm
for
just
sure.
thinking
just
like
for fun.
it'd be kind of funny to see because Jack Dorsey. And what do you think about Jack Dorsey? So he's going to be his 2% is going to be sold.
Yeah,
So he doesn't own Twitter at all.
yeah.
So do you think he will be brought back in once it's private? Do you think Elon will let Jack Dorsey invest
Well,
into it?
It's funny that you say, "Well, Elon let Jack Dorsey."
That's how,
that.
that's
I
how it
know,
works,
it's
right?
just-
He's
funny.
selling his shares.
I just don't even know exactly. I mean, if Jack Dorsey kind of believes in the vision, I guess I don't know. Why did he leave in the first place? I guess that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, he probably didn't like the thing is, so in a lot of ways, Elon is like Jack's hero because like Elon bought the company that didn't push Jack out, but in a lot of ways, Jack couldn't enforce his vision because he just was too small of a hand.
Yeah,
So he's like, you know what, this company, like I built it, I love it, but I can't do what I want with it anymore, so I'm out.
mm-hmm.
And he was also getting a lot of scrutiny. Like people were giving Twitter a lot of shit and saying Jack Dorsey's leadership was kind of bad and whatever else.
Sure.
And he couldn't be a CEO of two companies. Like people were kind of doubting his ability to do that. So in a lot of ways, Elon buying it is kind of like, a cool homie. I think they're friends, Jack and Elon.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
I've read that they're friends. If I do 2 times, so if I go $46 billion, I'm trying to see what is Jack Dorsey's bag here. Okay. Times 0.02.
Would that be just like $1 billion bones, roughly?
Yeah, almost $920 million. Yeah, that's a big bag
That's a big bag.
for Jack Dorsey.
A nice little payday.
Thanks, Elon.
Yeah.
You probably get a text, eh? Like Elon will just like wake up at 4 a.m. and Jack's like, hey man, just got the funds. Thanks.
I'm very excited to see about where this is going. Hopefully for the better. You know what I mean? I know you're more optimistic than I am, usually about most things. I just hope that at the end of the day, he kind of follows through on that vision. And again, it's the only time will tell, I guess, right?
Knowing Elon, he won't follow through on the vision from a calendar perspective.
Yeah, not a
Right.
calendar because obviously, like
He'll be late.
I don't think he did any calendar.
No, but as soon as he starts talking about those things, he will do. Like he will announce
The edit button.
in the coming months, Twitter will be doing X. Like I think he'll probably make some kind of claim about the bots. Like by the end of the year, the bots will all be. I just know
Yeah.
that's how he is, and that's every visionary should put a time on
Yeah.
their dream because if you don't put a time on it, people can't materialize and
for
understand it.
sure.
So he's going to do a lot of that and he's going to miss. But will it get worse than it is now? I really don't think so. What do you guys think? You guys think it can go downhill?
I think it definitely could. Here's something that I thought was just interesting when Reddit, and this is like kind of like when because I used to be a heavy Reddit user, still like use Reddit quite a bit
Mhm.
now, but I used to love Reddit because kind of that thought of like a free speech area was very true on Reddit at the time, but not really so much anymore. And it especially became true is that the CEO admitted to editing comments that were on the Trump subreddit. So that's already like a red flag right there, right? I mean, again, I don't really care what these Trump comments were about. Like that's not really my political ideologies, but the fact that they are manipulating tweets like specifically is a red flag. And to me, that is
You say tweets?
Sorry, not
Posts.
tweets, posts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Posts. This thing's way too on my mind right now. But that's already like a red flag right there. And that's something I worry about when you take something private is that are we going to be able to remove the audit logs of what these administrators, not specifically Elon Musk, right? I don't think this guy has time to go on and edit tweets for himself. But is there going to be some sort of like audit logs that be able to see the edits that are being made, depending on who is doing it? So
That's already the case. So Reddit's not private, right? Or Reddit is private.
sorry, Reddit is private, but it's like owned by like huge equity firms.
Yeah. So
I think they're taking it public though. I think like this year.
wow, that's crazy. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's a big company, but I would argue that that's already a concern now on Twitter. I think that's I think
for sure.
that's part of what Elon wants to get away is like if something happens on Twitter, you can see why, who did it, what the motivation was. It's not like secret like that CEO had done. So, the fact that it's private still means like, they hypothetically could just like censor everything they wanted to.
Yeah.
But Twitter can do that now as a public company as well. The fact that it's public doesn't mean they have to follow like government's rules. There's still a private company, just publicly traded. So
it might just, and whether they like try and turn into like a Truth Social type of thing too, right? It's just interesting. I'm just really curious because there's just so much questions that have to be answered.
To answer my take, I think I'm always optimistic about things too. I'm just excited. I'm like, I like Twitter. I like Elon. Let's see how good this can be. But there's probably a bunch of downside too, just not knowing that. But I think Elon is trying to take over the whole earth or the whole world, however you want to say that.
Yeah. And actually, not just the whole world. He's trying to take over Mars too.
True.
So, and space.
And that's concerning for sure.
He's going to die and then it'll all just be the companies. And they're going to be big companies, man. Like, those movies that they're like post-apocalyptical, futuristic sci-fi movies.
Yeah,
there's like a company that just like runs shit. And it's like insane levels of technology.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's going to be
Terminator vibes. Yeah.
That's going to be SpaceX, Tesla. Like those two companies are going to be running everything.
Sometimes I just wish to rewind.
Then do it.
Well, it's funny because speaking of dominating Earth, that's what our rewind's about today.
Dominating?
Dominating. Well, no. So the rewind here. So April 22nd is in 1970 is the first Earth Day. Earth Day. So just
I just realized Earth Day kind of rhymes with birthday.
Oh wow!
I don't know. Was that that probably wasn't intentional.
Probably not. No, but
it's your Earth Day, like to Earth.
Is that when the world was created? 1970.
Yeah, you'll have to ask. You'll have to read the Bible for that one.
We weren't there.
Yeah. Well, do you remember before 1970?
Not at all.
So
yeah, the Earth was born in 1970. Honestly, that could be a conspiracy theory. You could probably sell that.
Oh yeah, and you could probably get some like diehard supporters doing that too.
Yeah, as long as they're like 15 under, they'll buy in.
Well, I don't know. We got flat earthers, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, can you imagine convincing an 80-year-old that the world's only 50 years old? Oh yeah, all your memories, like the first 30 years they were downloaded.
Yeah, you could seriously gaslight someone.
Gaslighting an 80-year-old doesn't sound like fun.
It's not like,
hold on.
Picture in your head gaslighting an 80-year-old. It just sounds like so like horrible. It's like the worst.
That's because it is.
Yeah.
That's called like elderly exploitation. I think it's a crime.
You're only 30 years old. You don't remember any of that.
Where it gets bad is like,
I'm the police. Give me $100.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was about to say like, you tell them that like the world's only 50 years old and the first 30 years of their life is like a downloaded simulation, and then you say, by the way, if you don't hand over $1,000 in Bitcoin, we're gonna hack your computer.
I need $1,000 worth of Google Play cards right now. You've never paid up.
Just show up with a bunch of my friends that look like me, all wearing glasses and trench coats, like it's the Matrix. Just like showing up. Like, what was that guy's name? Mr. Smith.
Yeah, Mr. Smith. Oh my goodness. Yeah, just rolling up, gaslighting 80-year-olds everywhere. Like, what's up? So Earth Day. So just in case everyone needs a refresher, Earth Day is an event to increase public awareness of the world's environmental problems. Is celebrated in the United States for the first time on April 22nd, 1970. Millions of Americans, including students from thousands of colleges and universities, participated in rallies, marches, and educational programs across the country. Earth Day was the brainchild of Senator Gaylord Nelson.
Wait, Senator Gaylord?
Gaylord Nelson, yeah.
I don't want to laugh because that's his name.
I know.
Is that really his name?
Like G-A-Y?
Hold on, that's his first name. Gaylord.
Gaylord, yeah.
So,
sorry, one second. I need to look up how, because like...
Is that the pronunciation?
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Meet the Fockers?
No.
His name's Gaylord Focker.
Gaylord Focker.
That's the whole...
So
but like that was like a common name back for in the 20s or whatever. Not common enough, yeah.
Wow. So anyway, Gaylord Nelson of Wisconsin, a staunch environmentalist who hoped to provide unity to the grassroots environmental movement and increase ecological awareness. And then in quotes, The objective was to get a nationwide demonstration of concern for the environment so large that it would shake the political establishment out of its lethargy, Senator Nelson said. I like Senator Nelson better than Gaylord.
Yeah, Senator Nelson's kind of the GOAT. Like
Yeah.
he was like a senator in the States, and
Yeah.
he came up with like an international holiday. Like, how many international holidays do we have? Like Christmas.
Yeah.
What else?
Like Easter. Like we got a lot. And just to finish the quote here, and finally force this issue permanently onto the national political agenda. So my question here, Lee and Storm, is how has Earth Day contributed to modern day awareness of environmental issues? So arguably Earth Day was kind of the first day where I remember back when I was young, everyone turned their electricity off for an hour.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys did?
Yeah, that's literally what we did. We turned off the tools, and at school, like we would shut off the TVs and turn off our computers.
And go outside for an hour. So that's what I was really happy for. We got to go outside and just play.
But that's kind of weird, like a whole year. And then you spend 1 hour with it. Electronics.
For sure. Like I get the concept, but it is interesting how 52 years ago we've celebrated this, and even today we're still kind of on it. I mean, environmental still has a long way to go.
Oh, it's only got this Earth Day has only got bigger every year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even. Here's the thing. You know, it's kind of crazy. Like, imagine when there's multiple planet days. So like there's like Earth Day, and then we're celebrating like preserving Earth, but then there's like Mars Day.
Yeah.
And they're like on Mars, like that's when they're going out there and like watering the desert sand.
Yeah.
Trying to grow a tree to survive.
Well, what if I always thought like Mars was probably an Earth at some point?
That's like one of the theories.
But it got nuclear bombed or something.
Well, that's a conspiracy theory that like
that's a conspiracy.
That, like humans used to live on Mars, and
not humans, but like
a humanoid, yeah,
things.
like a thing that literally led to our existence.
Not to our existence.
That's conspiracy. The conspiracy is that like they were. That's, you know why we're so different on Earth. Like all the other animals are like nothing like us, is because like we arrived here on a last ditch effort from Mars.
I would say we're somewhat similar to other. Oh, well, sorry. I mean, I don't believe in that conspiracy.
I don't believe in this at all. I'm just trying to articulate what the theory is. So then they basically had a war, and there was like a nuclear fallout, and basically they just destroyed their atmosphere, and then the sun just basically smoked the planet. But some of them were able to like get here, and they became the human race.
I would say that. Yeah,
stupid.
I don't believe in that, but I would entertain the idea that maybe there was some sort of like apocalyptic war that ended all life on there, and then we're just kind of discovering what's going on.
I wouldn't. But
why do you not agree?
The odds that like human life on Earth, and then also very similar life on the planet right next door, and then like nowhere else.
I'm not saying it doesn't even have to be similar life. It's just a conscious life.
Like, and yeah, it's just intelligent life like right next door. I can't. You're being serious?
No, so somewhat, yeah.
Okay, because I don't think the odds. I think the odds are very unlikely that like once upon a time like there was intelligent life on both planets that came independently on their own, like materialized from single cell organisms on their own.
Yeah, well, it could have been like multi-thousands of year difference. I'm not talking about like
1970.
I just pulled up my telescope and started seeing them, right?
Yeah,
like
I know what you mean, but even then, even if there's like a billion year difference between them or whatever, like it would be crazy odds for that to happen. But it'd be sweet.
I heard men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Yeah. Oh, he's right.
Yeah,
that's the old book.
That's facts.
No, boys are from Jupiter.
They get more stupider. Yeah,
nice.
I
think if we're gonna have a Mars Day, it would have to be in March, because March in French is Mars. So it would have to be like March 1st or something like that. That would be the day I'd propose.
Yeah, and I think
for Mars Day,
it's a pretty good day. It's March.
Oh.
You know, we can march on Mars.
Can we get Pluto? Like, we need it to be recognized as a planet again. I know scientifically it can't be, but I think it deserves some sort of celebration.
Been back and forth, right?
Wait, are we?
Pluto's been back and forth. Remember when it was like?
Is that a pun?
I don't think so.
Like back and forth around the sun.
I didn't intend for that, but it could be.
Wait, people like they're saying like Pluto is a planet.
No, they did. So when we were younger, I think maybe end of elementary school or early high school, I forget when, they just like decided to cancel Pluto. Said Pluto's like not a planet anymore.
This is where cancel culture has gone too far.
It's literally where it started, bro.
Yeah.
Canceling Pluto for fucking doing nothing.
Yeah, seriously, just because it was small,
Yeah.
it was exploited.
And kind of like just doing its own thing a little bit. It's
It
like
was far out there.
you know what? Pluto's an example for if you don't follow the norm, you can get canceled.
Yeah.
I follow a new Twitter page called Depths of Wikipedia, and there's a book called How I Killed Pluto and Why It Had It Coming. And it was a memoir by Mike Brown, the astronomer that's responsible for the reclassification of Pluto to a dwarf planet. So he literally wanted to start, wanted all the smoke with that title.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like I came out. I killed Pluto.
The very first cloud chaser.
Bro, I bet you he says that to every girl he meets.
Yeah, I guarantee he does.
He's
He's
like, you know when they killed Pluto? That was me.
yeah.
Whispers it in her ear.
Yeah, and he's still like wondering why he can't score.
Yeah.
He goes home to his roommate. He's like, another strikeout today. I don't know what it is. I keep telling them the Pluto story and they don't freaking come back.
It'd be scary if he called you Pluto in bed.
Oh my God. Because he wants to fucking kill you.
Wait, what'd you say? Sorry. Pammy. I meant Pammy. Yeah, he's probably a weird dude, man. Like the way that you read that title, Storm, it sounded like he was like mad at Pluto for something.
Why it had it coming.
Why it had it coming. Like, what did it do? Pluto did nothing to you.
Pluto was literally so far away from you. It kept its distance.
It literally did. It was minding its own fucking business.
Yeah, it was in its own orbit.
Yeah.
Like,
and anyway, I think it actually came back to being a planet temporarily and then got canceled again.
I bet it was him. He probably brought it back to bring it back down. You know how you help someone up just to trip them back down again?
Yeah, when you really want them to fail and you hate them.
Yeah.
I bet you this guy hates Pluto.
What did this guy?
You know what we should do? We should make what's his name, Storm?
It was like Mike Brown or something.
Mike Brown. Mike Brown and why he should be canceled.
I think we should cancel him.
Make an anti-fan page for Mike Brown. What you did to Pluto, we're going to do to you.
Seriously.
Literally, bro, this is a message to you, Mike Brown. What did canceling Pluto do for the world?
Yeah.
All you did was make a bunch of curriculum irrelevant. You gaslighted children because they swore there was, I don't know how many planets there were prior to Pluto. That's how bad my astrology is here, but astronomy. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
But now their minds now they're wrong. Now you got kids thinking like the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
And for what? For your ego. So we're coming for you.
And that's why I agree. Mike. If he wants to gaslight children, that's why we have to gaslight 80-year-olds. I'm going to call him. I'm going to get the scammers to call him and fix his Windows computer and then dump all of his research out.
Yeah, speaking of Earth and outer space, Lewis, I got another story here.
Speaking of being in pain in space.
We've got a pretty interesting story to follow up that one.
Okay.
And this is actually, here's what I'll do, Lewis. I'll start with a word. Holoportation. It's a new noun for you. It's an amalgamation of hologram and teleportation. So just based off the word, what do you think holoportation is?
Like being a hologram maybe you're a hologram and you're like somewhere.
Yeah. Pretty good word, isn't it? It just kind of does the trick.
Yeah.
Holoported.
Yeah.
And so you are a holoporter who likes to holoport. Technology's holoportation.
Like a reporter?
No, it's just
holoporter. Like I'm a journalist.
No,
a reporter on the scene as a holographic.
So a holoporter.
Sorry.
Just remove reporter from the equation.
Yeah,
a holoporter is just someone that holoports.
Oh, okay.
Like a teleport. So if you're a teleporter, but you're not teleporting, you're holoporting.
Oh,
you're a holoporter. And you know what? I can't see teleportation really becoming a thing for a long time. I don't know the science. So if you're a physicist major and,
do you know why I know it's not going to happen anytime soon?
Why? Because
I always say like, if teleportation exists, like someone come here right now.
That's time travel, but yeah, both, right?
And they never do.
They never do. But
go on.
That has to do entirely with you and your consciousness ever basically aligning itself in the future with time travel. Like what if Storm did that right now and then him from the future just shows up?
Yeah.
That would be nuts. Because maybe you don't end up doing time travel.
And Storm does. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, for me, like the whole idea of teleporting is kind of fucked because you're like taking all of your atoms and then like, I don't know breaking them down and then like shooting them over the internet or something and like rematerializing them somewhere. I don't know how that would work. And I also don't think the clinical trials would be very safe.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they'd probably be teleporting dogs and shit first. You know what I mean? But
poor
even
pups.
But even then, yeah, if you're a human and you're just like letting people like just break you apart down to every fucking cell and then rebuild you it's just not going to happen.
It would have to be the Chihuahuas that they use first because that's like the least valuable dog.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But yeah, so holoporting is actually real and it's happening right now. And NASA actually holoported a doctor onto the International Space Station to do some sort of procedure.
Okay, so tell me more.
So basically, the company, what's it called here? CEO of EXA Aerospace helped develop the holoportation equipment with a few other team members. They're using the Microsoft HoloLens. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the big mixed reality headset that
Microsoft.
And a lot of like enterprise, like big tech projects, they use that. I think it's got the most gas. Like you really got power there. And they like shook hands on the International Space Station and everything. So like as a doctor, you're there with the astronauts who are also wearing like I think some sort of AR tech, so they can see you in AR in the space station.
Oh, no way.
And they shook hands, they had interactions and everything. So this is nuts.
So you can be a hologram in space?
You can literally go to space without ever leaving the planet.
Oh my goodness. That's nuts. That's arguably where we should be. You know what? Do you know what that reminds me of a lot?
What's that?
Have you ever seen the first 3 episodes of Star Wars?
Oh yeah.
Right? All the time when they're doing their little, like in their conference center, they always have a hologram that knows exactly where they are. Do you know what I'm talking about, Storm?
Oh yeah.
That's kind of like what it's like.
Yeah, holoportation is just hologram meetings with a live stream.
Yeah.
I think it sounds cooler when you somehow blend teleporting into there.
Well, I think, yeah, but also too, like the immersion that you have as like someone who is like seeing someone like actually live there, and then they can see where they are specifically as well.
Yeah, which is helpful. Like when we do a Zoom call, in a lot of ways, you're kind of teleporting, right?
So, something like one of the best things I loved about like the new AR kit that kind of came out from Apple and Android is this one app by the TeamViewer company. And what you do is you go on a call with somebody and like the other person can like mark in AR, like if you're, I don't know, like working on like some sort of, like if you're a pilot, say, I can point and like give directions to you in AR. So like I can say, oh, I click this button right here. You click on it.
TeamViewer made an app like that?
Yeah. And it's like,
wow.
And it's to help people, obviously, right? So imagine how different that will be. But I just thought that was incredible because even you can do it like that, especially a doctor in space. He can have a look at you, get real close with the HoloLens, and then say, oh, yeah, your ankle's fucked, right? Like there's no way that's going to do it. There's some sort of inflammation. It really does make things so much easier.
Well, the difference right now is like so we got a remote worker on our team.
Yeah.
And when she conference calls in, she's kind of teleporting into our boardroom, but really it's just like one dimension. She can't see behind her. She can't move around the room on her own. Like we could maybe rig some kind of like iPad on wheels, kind of like Modern Family.
Or like Sheldon. Or...
Sheldon. And that could work. But realistically, she's not really here with us. But if there was holoportation, and we all had headsets on, we could see her here and she could see us, and then she could walk to the other room. She could go to a desk and work. Like she could quite literally be in the space with us, which is kind of messed up.
Well, I was thinking too, because the one thing with like everyone being in a conference room and then there only being one person or two people remote is that at a conference, I can talk to the person left of me, or I can just talk to the person to the right of me. But on a conference call, you have to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
So even using that HoloLens as some sort of way to talk to people, it's very interesting.
Now, here's one question, and I don't even know the answer to this. And maybe Storm, you obviously found the article, so maybe you know. But how does the doctor, or hypothetically anybody that's using holoportation as a technology, how do they move around the space? So I can kind of understand how if there's a camera or something like a VR camera that they could look around. But how do you move? Right?
So there's a mixed reality display aboard the ISS.
Okay.
So this allows the holoporters and astronauts to see, hear, and interact with one another as though they were in the same physical space.
So it must be like only certain rooms that they can kind of jump into.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the pictures right now, and it looks almost like it kind of just does look like a Zoom call almost, but with the green screen removed from the background and you only see them.
Yeah, you know what? This is useless. In this context, this is stupid because if the doctor can't actually move around or even move his own camera, like if he goes like this and looks to the left or the right, there's nothing panning on his end. So it really is.
It's more impressive.
It's an AR Zoom call.
It's more actually
without the interface.
Yeah, it just seemed more impressive as from like a video call solution. And the only headline that they got to market this is it's in space, but.
Well, that's actually really impressive because in the past, communicating with space had a huge delay. So I think the team had the bigger problem was probably solving that, like
the latency
to make it really like they shook hands. So there was like almost no latency. That was arguably bigger than this because all this looks like to me is Zoom on an AR headset with no interface or background.
So how do they shake hands? Like what is shaking hands specifically?
So they saw each other in the Zoom call with their AR headsets and they both were able to put their hands out and they must have been in some kind of, see the doctors, like there's got to be a camera that's like, that shows their whole body and can see their hands lift up. So here's actually where I think shit gets crazy with this type of technology. I think this example where you're teleporting people from a physical location to another physical location, I think that fucking sucks. And the reason I think it sucks is because the place that they get to, they can't interface at the same level that you can as a human. It's like you're stuck. You're not, and it's because every square inch of physical spaces isn't virtualized. And even if it were, you can't interact with any of it. So if somebody was at like if he wanted to go and turn the lights off in the room, he couldn't do that.
No.
Right? Because that's a physical button. But here's where the technology gets crazy. Imagine going to a conference and everyone's teleporting in or holoporting in. And the conference is hosted in a virtual space. Now every square inch of that space is virtual. So it's programmed, it's code, it's not atoms, it's bits.
Yeah.
And you could actually interact with anything. So being there, you're actually fully connected and you can interact with other people and everyone's like holoporting in.
Yeah.
And you could literally be walking around as like a hologram and meeting people and doing a presentation and networking. And, basically you just be like sitting at your desk at home, with a headset on your face.
This is why like stuff like the VR, like the Oculus Rift, like what I think is cool about the Vive, but Oculus works the same way, is that it has sensors to display like where your position is in the room. And that's what the issue with this technology right here, at least from the doctor side, is that it's just taking his camera and then doing the green screen effect behind him so that you just don't see him. But if you had those like sensors and he had some glasses, it'd be so much easier to emulate that 3D, him being around in the space, then use that NVIDIA Omniverse thing that you talked about last time, Lee, and then have him interact in that world.
Yeah.
And I think that is, so there is still a lot of time to go, but it is pretty interesting.
When I think about that, like the mixed reality headsets, like where it's like not like an avatar, it's like actually your face, you're everything. I really could see this being like the future of a lot of stuff. Like, why have a physical office if you could have virtual real estate?
Oh yeah.
Like, imagine trying clothes on off the rack in a virtual store.
Yeah. Oh, that exists already.
I know, but like we don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not mainstream. Like imagine
it's just the technology is not consumer accessible at the moment.
Yeah. Everyone needs the headset and they need to be on the same platform.
I'm just like the HoloLens is cool. I actually saw a video on TikTok that was crazy. And I don't know why I thought it was so crazy, but it was this guy who was in a classroom lecture in university, but he didn't have a laptop. He just had a keyboard and a Microsoft HoloLens.
I saw that. And he was just like working on multiple displays.
Yeah. I'm like thinking, what an amazing productivity booster to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Man, he was like just flexing on his whole class.
But to be honest, it did look dorky as hell.
But once everyone has like HoloLenses and they're not big clunky helmets, they're like Apple, like super slick.
But when is that coming?
I
know it says this year, but
I think this year Apple's going to make a big statement about the AR tech.
I really want to see I'm just so excited for it. It's really giving me the heebly-jeeblies.
Everyone's excited about AR, Lewis. And didn't TikTok do something about AR too?
Well, let me tell you about that. So TikTok opens up their AR effects tool to all users. So it's called Effect House. And it's similar to what Spark AR Studio is. So for people who are used to Instagram and Facebook, this already kind of existed on the Instagram platform where you can create your own filters. But because TikTok is so heavy in the sharing, the repurposing, and the effects, well, people being able to build their own with a huge amount of tools has proven to be extremely successful for the platform, considering it's all video.
Yeah.
On Instagram, that like stories is only one aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
So now this is like being introduced. So it's called Effect House, and it works very similar to Instagram's version of the app, Spark AR Studio. So it kind of has like a nice 3D area where you can, with people with no coding experience, can create their own filters. So custom make filters has made TikTok explode in user created content with filters like what Disney character are you, where like it'll filter through all the different Disney characters and then it'll land on the one that is you. Or like what you'll look like in 10 years, where you can like age yourself by 10 years or 20 years, etc. So all super, super crazy filters that is improving the virality of TikTok.
So how long has this been on the platform for?
So I think they rolled this out in closed beta for like 4 or 5 months. And just recently it came up to everybody who wants to use it.
Wait, we could do this then? We could make...
Yeah, me and you can do this, and Storm.
So we can make any filter.
Any filter we want.
And then how do people find it on TikTok? They search for it?
So like, they would search for it, or they could, if they see my video, they can click on the filter to use it themselves, so they can instantly do it.
This seems like a business opportunity for anybody that's an agency in tech that works with brands, because building filters for brands would be kind of a cool, like is this like games too? Like, you know how like
it's literally like the possibilities are endless. Like some people have made it so that their face is like on this 3D scene where the whole entire background is different, but just their face is a character on it. Some people have created games.
Well, my son plays this shit on Facebook with like, he uses the Facebook portal to talk to his grandparents.
Okay.
And they do this game where he like opens his mouth to catch the food.
Okay.
And like,
yeah.
you know, that's games.
Similar.
Right.
Yep.
So could you do like where you turn the camera on and you have like your two hands become a steering wheel, and then like it like masks you into like a Formula One car?
I'm not sure how complex. I'm sure it can though, because it does, you can track hand movements.
Yeah.
It tracks your whole body. It knows like how to, and like I've seen a lot of Tencent has open sourced their AI machine learning model that green screens people, like it puts a green screen behind people's bodies. So like they have the best technology when it comes to creating these filters.
Well, we should play with this. We should do something.
We should do something about it, but
it'd be fun.
It's interesting.
Do an egg filter?
An egg filter.
Yeah, for egg game.
AR filter.
Yo, wait. Couldn't we just bring egg game to this? Like, and you just like use your hand, or you have to use your nose or something, or your face to like,
but you have to
the egg in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. But you have to take into consideration too, is that this is something that has to go like viral, I guess. So it would have to be under like a minute long.
True.
But either way, what do you think about this new, it's almost like this new content. Programmers are now able, or non-programmers can now create new content to be able to use in AR.
I think at the base level, it's going to allow for creativity in augmented reality. I think right now, like AR as a creator, as someone that has ideas, has been largely inaccessible for people to like actually just play with. So it's cool that social media, this is like a good example of like where social media has really worked. Because like outside of Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram, like where else has AR really been a playground for people? Like, can you guys think of anything else other than social media? Like, not really.
AR, no.
Yeah, like AR is really, like social media has really been...
And gaming, but that's about it. But mostly like a social gaming type of thing, like Pokemon Go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess that's true. Pokemon Go is a good example, but I think mostly that doesn't really help creators. No. That's been like, we made a game and you can play it and it's AR. The thing from like letting people create and play with AR and make their own experiences, social media has been kind of the king of that. And TikTok opening up their tools to users is just another example of this. And I think we'll probably be I think this is going to open a lot of doors for like ideas of like what AR can do. And I'm just curious to see like, because it's such a big community on TikTok, right? I can only imagine there's going to be some really cool ideas that we just didn't even like. We didn't even know them. Like they're just like so original and they're all going to be inspired by each other because that's like TikTok in a nutshell. It's just like
Yeah.
trends evolving really quickly over time through the community. So
One of my favorite filters, there's two of them. So one of them is that it detects where the sky is. So when you put your phone up to the sky, there's a Shrek dancing in a black leather latex costume.
wow,
Yeah. So like
that's your favorite, eh?
well, I thought it was cool how you can detect the sky,
Mm-hmm.
and then that like mask like a giant Shrek in the sky. Like I just thought it was cool how that detection is there. And then another one is someone put a Kung Fu Panda, so it knows exactly where your body is, and it'll track exactly a model of the Kung Fu Panda
Oh my god!
on top of
So you
you.
can do a bunch of funny moves, and then it like another thing about Kung Fu Panda's animation too is like his flubber jiggling
Yeah.
is like such a funny part of it. So like when he lands, like
Yeah.
his belly like bouncing, and man, so that exists already.
Yeah, there's a trend right now where like people will like there's a song that goes like Kung Fu Panda, like it's like kind of a silly like SoundCloud rap, but people will like be a menace on the street. They'll just like run and like push people over and
No
stuff
way,
as Kung Fu Panda.
dude, that's hilarious. Can we make this a thing? And like after the podcast, can you just like be a menace in the office and we'll post it?
Perhaps, yeah. I mean,
I think
we
you should
can.
do it, Lewis. You should do a Kung Fu Panda thing.
Kung Fu Panda. It might be a little over one time. It's like, well, but yeah, like I'll show you some
Oh,
of
like
them.
the
trend.
The trend is over. Who cares?
Yeah, we can be Kung
We'll
Fu Panda.
post it on our Instagram story on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And you have to follow us on the story to see Lewis go Kung Fu Panda
Kung
crazy.
Fu
Skadoosh.
But it's honestly so cool what we can do, and I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I think we should also do something on here just for fun, and maybe even try to see if we can find some, maybe some brands or something that would be interested in doing a project and making it for them.
Mhm.
You said it's for non-developers though, right? Is there like also like stuff that's for developers as well, or?
Yeah, like I'm sure I had never really had like a deep look into it, but yeah, like I'm sure because it is just generating code at the end of the day. I'm sure the developers can really get a deep dive into it.
Yeah, I feel like the developers will have more power. It says open to all creators, designers, and developers from around the world.
Yeah.
We're creators, designers, and developers.
Yeah, we're all three.
We're all three of them here at Tomorrow Inc. So we should definitely do something.
I love that.
Sweet. Well, looking forward to trying that out. And also, Lewis is now committed in writing and over the podcast that he's going to do a Kung Fu Panda Menace TikTok
Menace compilation.
So the next story is actually a new segment of the podcast that Storm has cooked up. He's calling it Phony Baloney. I like the name, Phony Baloney. And pretty much we're going to be going over stuff that we maybe know to be true that actually isn't true.
Okay.
And I don't know, Storm, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, pretty much summarized it. Common misconceptions that we all believe to be true. That are not.
So here's one, Lewis, and I actually knew this, so not to be a smart aleck here, but did you know that fortune cookies are not Chinese cuisine?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're actually not Chinese at all.
Oh, okay.
One. Did you know that fortune cookies aren't even Chinese food?
Fortune cookies are not from China?
No. Actually, fortune cookies are from Japan and introduced to the US by the Japanese. And they are considered to be American and very rare to Chinese people.
Oh, that's interesting. So they were invented in Japan. Okay, because when you said they're not from China, I figured I feel like it was almost like a racist caricature to just call any of that food Chinese by like American people. But I never knew that they're from actual Asia.
Yeah. I think they were like first introduced in America and California. But I don't even think that they were being eaten in Japan. I think Japan made it for American Chinese restaurants.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So basically I think they just saw the opportunity to be vendors for some of the businesses there to be vendors for American cuisine. And, they're sending to these American Chinese restaurants like supplies and, those Oriental menus and decoration.
Yeah.
We talked about this before, like a Chinese restaurant in a box, right?
Why do they give such Chinese vibes though?
The
whole fortune cookies.
They give Chinese vibes because we were taught our whole life that they're Chinese.
Yeah, I know. I feel like every time I open them up too, I'm just thinking like this is definitely
Bro, it's because our exposure to Chinese culture happened at the buffet line.
Dude, this is why I hate, man. I hate that this is how I'm like Chinese culture is being represented with orange chicken.
I don't hate it at all.
Oh,
It's so good.
it is good, but
Chinese food is unreal. I think American Chinese food might be the best food in the world. It might be better than Chinese food. I haven't even had Chinese food. But
better than pizza?
Chinese food is better than pizza.
You think?
I don't think I know it. Hands down, it's better than
You
pizza.
know it?
But it's just kind of weird that our whole life, we kind of just assume this thing is like so Chinese.
Yeah.
So how'd it come about?
Mikado Hagawara, his family asserts that today's fortune cookie is a decadent of yesterday's
Descendant
of yesterday's senbi, a Japanese cracker that contains a slip of paper. Okay, so basically it came from let's Google that. What does a senbi look like? Oh, it looks nothing like it. So it 100% was inspired by Japan, but I think it's like straight up. I think this is just like straight up bullshit. The whole concept. I think it's just completely American.
Yeah.
I think it was inspired by like the invention of like putting paper in a cookie is not even Chinese, it's Japanese.
Yeah.
And then some Americans were like, yo, like in China, they got paper and cookies.
Yeah.
We should put that in our gosh darn Chinese food. It wasn't even Chinese, it was Japanese.
Yeah. It's definitely complete cap for sure. I would not doubt that this was just completely American and then just brought over because that's what people would just remember. Like you can't not have that in a Chinese restaurant.
I'm picturing an American family now going to China looking for genuine fortune cookies.
Yeah. just at the restaurants, just confused. Like it's like 3 weeks in China and not one restaurant has given us a fortune cookie at the end. We've asked every time. So when do you bring us our fortune cookies? They're like, what?
Yeah. In 1989, an entrepreneur in Hong Kong began importing fortune cookies and selling them as luxury items in a chain of fancy restaurants, advertising them as genuine American fortune cookies. In 1992, Brooklyn-based Wonton Food expanded its existing fortune cookie business into China, building the very first fortune cookie factory in that land. But that project was short-lived. Said Richard Leung, the company's vice president, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but it just didn't pan out. Fortune cookies are too American.
Wow. Fortune cookies were too American to succeed in China.
Yeah.
China wasn't American enough for them.
No, it was just pathetic.
I wonder if now it would work because China's becoming so American now, with like the rise of their economy. Like I wonder if now is the time to do business in China. But
I don't know though, because they're like fortune cookies are not good.
They taste like actual garbage.
They do taste like shit.
I don't eat them.
And the thing is that like
they have a nice aftertaste.
Yeah. And you know what? They're kind of sweet. But like, does the fortune even matter either?
Here's the thing. After you've had a whole ton of Chinese food, you don't want it.
No.
That's the thing. They're pretty good on it. Like if I had a fortune cookie in front of me right now, I would eat it.
But is that because you're just bored?
Could be.
That's the same. That's what I'm thinking.
That's why I eat most cookies though, period.
Yeah.
But
God, they're so good. What's your favorite cookie?
Oreo.
Yeah, same. But yeah, the fortune cookie is just, I don't know. It should fail everywhere.
I love this concept though. Imagine if a bunch of people from like Sweden started coming to Canada and you just hear them in all these restaurants being like, oh, you don't have like the beaver butts?
Yeah, like
there's
there's
beaver butts at the end of every Canadian food meal that we have in Sweden.
Yeah.
And just this completely made up thing in a foreign land that comes
exist.
in there like trying to like put it into your culture. Like how backwards is this idea?
I feel like
put
a maple
syrup on everything.
A maple pop, like basically like a little candy that's like maple syrup made that we never would eat, but they just eat it all the time.
I guarantee that's probably what it would have been: a maple syrup leaf hard candy
that they give you at the end of a meal.
Yeah.
It's like a little
I
treat.
think we have that in all of our tourist trap stores in Canada. Though, if you go to Niagara Falls, you're getting a maple pop. Like
that's
they're there. Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Well then there you go. It's probably, you know what? Here's the thing though, is like I don't think other countries have Canadian restaurants, which is kind of lame.
Yeah. I'm surprised that like it might come soon.
I'm not surprised.
Poutine.
Yeah, but
that might be huge.
I mean, that's just you could do poutine store like restaurants, but
they do poutine restaurants already right now.
But I'm saying that's not really like Canadian cuisine. It's like it's our only claim to fame. What I'm saying is lame is our cuisine. Our cuisine sucks.
Oh, you think our cuisine sucks?
We have no identity when it comes to our food.
Montreal bagels.
I don't know, man. You're just saying things that just aren't impressing me.
He said one thing, and you're like, I don't know.
No,
those bagels don't impress me.
Like, I don't think those are like look at Italian food and Chinese food and like Indian food. Like they just have like rich, deep. And you know why? Here's the thing.
Well, but here's the thing. It's like, what's Japanese food?
I don't know, like sushi.
But these are cultures that have been around a very long time, and we're just the melting pot for all these cultures.
That's why Canada's
But
A Canadian restaurant is literally like a buffet of everyone's food.
But
Yeah.
people get American food all the time. Like they would call McDonald's American food.
Yeah.
In other places.
It is. The
but
burger
that-
is American. The
but
hot
yeah,
dog.
But that's a bit disrespectful, though.
Why?
Because it's like saying like, oh, what's like McDonald's isn't American food necessarily.
It's inspired by is PF Chang's Chinese food?
But that's what I'm saying, right? It's like
Is
everyone wants to hate on the American food. There's some great American food. The burger is one of the best foods of all time.
Of all time.
Thank
Of
you.
all time, Sway. No, yeah, the burger's unreal.
I
that's
just-
what I'm saying. Like, why doesn't Canada have like a burger equivalent
We
or
do.
a
It's
hot
poutine.
dog? Shut up.
What do you mean?
I think it
putting
is poutine.
You're saying poutine's equivalent to burgers?
No, but
Well,
it's the biggest
burgers,
thing we
like,
got.
Burger's the number one. Like burger's big everywhere. You can't like. Of course,
Dude, I
I'm not
don't
gonna do
fucking
it.
even like poutines. They get
How do you
soggy
not?
because they're soggy.
I
Like
don't-
fries are meant to be crispy.
I don't like poutine either.
Are you
See?
serious?
Yeah.
Like, man, it's so here's the thing about poutines. It's like a thing you can get once a year and be like, oh, like the gravy and the cheese, cool. But it's not a staple the way the burger is a staple.
Where do you guys get your poutines from? Did you go to Albert's?
The Albert's or the fried truck, both.
Because
of them.
Albert's, first of all,
Yo, be careful what you say here.
yeah, I won't say nothing about them, but you'll have to see the video podcast for that one.
We gaslight old people, like, and then the one thing I'm like, yo, be careful is say something bad about it.
Albert's is a Sarnia institution.
But here's the thing: is poutine's incredible, and like the fries don't get soggy
How do they not get soggy? They're drenched in gravy, Lewis.
because they're just crispy. I don't know.
What kind of fucking magical fries are you using for
fried
poutines?
potatoes? That's what I mean.
Okay, when you add gravy,
Yeah,
to
maybe if it's been sitting there for 45 minutes.
oh, like if you're eating it right on the spot, it's really hot. I get that's probably a bit crispy, but I don't know. Listen, we don't need to go right down this rabbit hole. I just think, Canada needs to maybe like come up with a couple more dishes. You know what? That could be a whole campaign. The government, can you imagine Trudeau? Trudeau announces $1 billion investment to hire the greatest culinary experts on the planet to build a new Canadian cuisine.
I don't think you have to make something new. I think we just have to boost something that like our Donairs are Canadian. I think you guys haven't had them though, right? You were saying?
Never had a donair.
No, me neither.
So I mean, they're pretty fire. I like them. So like if that's like we might have like the roots of something. You know?
True.
Yeah,
We might
but,
just have
but
to-
you also don't like poutine, so who can I trust you with that?
I think to end this segment out, this whole talk has been reminding me of Talladega Nights. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yep.
And where the French driver is like, "What is America brought to the world?" And immediately both of them are just like Chinese food. And,
Oh, yeah.
and he's like, "That's from China." And then they're like chimichangas, and he's like, "Mexico."
You know what? He's wrong though, because Chinese food was
That's
brought
what
to the
that's what I
world
was
by
saying.
America.
Some of it is right, like
And you know
the
what,
fortune cookies.
Chimichangas might be American too.
Yeah. I think
Well-
that French guy was pretentious and dumb.
Yeah.
It was actually
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
It was Borat that played that role.
I know we
We got butter tarts too in Nanaimo bars. Those are some.
bars are really good.
Nanaimo bars. Wait,
That
hold
could
on.
be
Is
a
that
thing.
Canadian?
Yeah,
Yeah, from Nanaimo, Vancouver.
from
Yo.
BC. Yeah,
Timmy,
Yeah.
Canada's kind of coming clutch with the desserts then. Nanaimo's butter tarts, like maple syrup things.
That's what I'm saying. We are lit.
we got some things. Just it's like getting it into pop culture. We need to have some big producers of movies float some Nanaimo bars in there and get the world talking about what they're eating.
Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be a global advertising campaign about just some of our nice little things because I think we're not getting enough love on the
Okay.
global stage.
Our love isn't snipped, which we have this again this week. Snips. Lee, you want to take off the first snip?
Yeah. So apparently the Golden State Warriors have started a record label and they've already signed 2 artists, including an Oakland rapper. So from the Bay Area. So basically a basketball team has gone out and started a rap label from the sounds of it. And here's what it says. It says,
Just music label because they signed a K-pop artist as well.
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, moving into music and have signed a K-pop artist as well. We use storytelling, and this is just another form of storytelling, the chief business officer told the San Francisco Chronicle. So here's the first thing that's hilarious. The chief business officer is saying that the Golden State Warriors do storytelling, which I would never align. Like I would never make that connection. It's a new type of content that we're positioned to create. So what's the role of the the Golden State Warriors in like building out these. So the rapper's name is Mazin, Mayzin, multi-album deal.
Yeah. Like, so you're asking what their role is. So I guess they're going to do anything that the label is just distribution, right? That's pretty much what
and financing,
which the Warriors obviously can do. So I guess if you have these artists that they sign as part of the warm-ups when people are going to the arena and as part of their hype videos online, that's like, it's in itself the content, right? Especially everyone's watching the Warriors. So
it makes sense. It's basically, instead of partnering with a local, like if you're a rapper in Golden State, in Oakland, and you go to your team and you say, hey, like, you know, I'm from here, I'm from the area, like, can you guys put me on? Because you need a local fan base to like bang on your drum really before you can go out to the world. That would be a great partnership beyond any of this like label stuff. They would, and you know, they would, like you said, play the music in the hype videos, play it in the warm-ups, you know, maybe get Steph Curry to show up in one of his music videos. Something like that.
I was going to say, like, a lot, like NBA and hip hop culture really are intertwined, so it does make sense for them.
The K-pop artist was interesting too, right? Just showing the new, like the way the NBA is trying to build that in that direction.
K-pop is growing massively, like it's exponentially growing. It's huge.
Yeah.
So this is like kind of an unorthodox thing, like business to start a record label. And I was wondering what you guys think would be some other funny unorthodox. Like I was thinking like Lindt, like chocolate. And they like sign the guy that sings I'm in love with the cocoa, you know?
Oh yeah.
OT Genesis.
Oh, like so like, other companies that can like
who else would
record labels?
Yeah, who else would roll a record label? Like can anyone do it now?
Apple could, like, not even joking, like Apple could do that.
Well, Apple has done exclusive deals with Drake.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they could do a label where, like, imagine, dude, like every iPhone has, I mean, we don't have iTunes anymore, but like came preloaded with like,
well, that's what they did with U2.
Exactly. Then they got Apple Music.
Hamburger Helper dropped a mixtape.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
What else?
And the thing about Hamburger Helper dropping a mixtape seems more like a brand using music for marketing, which I think almost anybody could do that.
Yeah.
But what company could create a label and like put on artists? Because like the reason that Golden State can do this is because they literally can provide value. Like
governments. What if the United States created a record label?
Yeah, Canada Post, like a crown corporation.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's getting mixtapes in their fucking mailbox.
Or like The Weeknd drops and it's like talking about sex the entire time. And there's like, oh shit, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, I mean, I guess governments couldn't get into it because that's like super private sector. But Apple could definitely do a label. Microsoft would probably do a label too, but it'd probably suck.
So what's this say about the shifting? You might know a bit more of that, like music with labels in general, right? A lot of people doing independent things now versus the old days, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
it's a good point. So in the past, a music label did everything for the artist. They did distribution, publishing, A&R, you know, connecting them with producers, usually book the studio time, the financing. So basically a music label is kind of like an agency for musicians. Like it's like like you have your creator, we look after everything else, back office, front office, touring, all of it. Now, the industry's been fragmented. So producers work independently, booking agents work independently, you know, most people working with Live Nation to do their shows, whatever. But the artists do a lot of this. Like basically artists are creating their own little companies. So like Macklemore was huge for this because like he did so much independently. And then, you know, people like Logic, they didn't just join the label, they like created their own division. Russ is a good example as well. Chance, exactly. And it's become like the standard now. Like you basically go to the labels typically for distribution, like typically to help get the reach that they have.
Yeah.
Or if you have a publishing deal and you want to go international, like if you're like a big artist like The Weeknd, the labels are great at bringing you to other markets and they understand how the other markets work and they can do international tours and everything else. But if that's the only thing that is valuable to an artist is like the channels, like the access to the channels, like hypothetically anybody with great channels could create a label.
Yeah.
Like Apple with their Apple Music, their content creation on Apple TV, their hardware.
Like FaZe Clan,
100% FaZe Clan with their YouTube channels.
Well, they have Offset as a FaZe member and Snoop Dogg's a FaZe member.
But they're not acting as their record label, right?
Those guys are famous, right? Yeah. Imagine they like literally resurrect, like they just like dropped a new artist through and use their channels to market them. They 100% could. Google could do it with YouTube and all of their different channels. The Golden State Warriors obviously did it with just their fan base and like their connection to the culture.
Wait a minute. So the Golden State Warriors started a record label? How to get the TikTok.
Yep.
There you go. And so do you guys, final question, do you think that it's going to be the trend where you're going to see a bunch of other NBA teams hop on board with this? Or do you think that like the push for independent music is just going to be like record labels are going to be less of a role like this? It's going to phase out?
I think the idea of being a record label is going to change into just organizations partnering with musicians, period. Just partnerships, music partnerships.
Kind of similar to how the Raptors did it with Drake almost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Drake, they actually benefited more from Drake being an ambassador for them. Because like at that point, Drake's audience in Canada was bigger than the Raptors.
Yep.
And they were like, yo, Drake, can you help us resurrect the Raptors brand? And he did. But in this case, it's like these new rappers and K-pop artists being launched by the Golden State Warriors. What I think will happen, if you're asking for a prediction, Storm, is that if you're a owner looking at the balance sheet of your team, and the thing about teams is they're just massive assets, right? So people buy and sell these teams. Like they'll own the fucking team in their city. It's a kind of a clout thing.
Yeah.
It'll appreciate, and then eventually new owners will take it on, right? So if I'm another team and I'm seeing like, wait, what did the Golden State Warriors do? They added a whole new business model. Like they're like now putting on artists. Like I'm thinking of other creative ways we as a team can use our channels and our reach. Can Canada create a music label and do with could the Raptors do that for Canadian artists? Yeah. Could the Los Angeles Lakers create a TV series or a streaming platform like Los Angeles Lakers Plus, like where you're watching like the Kardashians have dated the Lakers. Like, do you see these connections? You know what I mean? Like, is there other ways that these massive brands with their massive fan bases, could they build new companies within their organization? So when you sell the Lakers, you're selling Lakers plus Lakers TV plus.
Yeah.
And when you sell the Golden State Warriors, you're selling the Golden State Warriors plus, Golden State Warriors Sound or whatever their music label is called. So that's where I think it'll evolve, Storm. I don't know if everyone will do labels, but I think they're all going to realize the potential of their channels and start building more businesses.
Yeah. Ethereum is getting a movie. There's going to be an Ethereum movie.
Is it going to be on the blockchain?
So legendary filmmaker Sir Ridley Scott, I never knew it was Sir Ridley Scott. His production company will spearhead the project, which is based on Camilla Russo's 2020 book, The Infinite Machine, How an Army of Crypto Hackers is Building the Next Internet with Ethereum. This plot will focus on Vitalik Buterin's creation of a community of developers and investors who jumpstarted the Ethereum movement. And then Shyam Madiraju, sorry, I know that's bad, is set to write and direct the film. Pretty interesting. An Ethereum movie.
Wait, so who's going to be, does it say where it's going to be available? Or is it just like that they're working on it?
Just that they're working on it right now. But it's Sir Ridley Scott. And Ridley Scott, is he Aliens? Yeah, like.
Sounds like that. That sounds familiar.
Like that's a huge company doing that. And it's what I find interesting with that story is that Ethereum is still, arguably speaking, in its child phase. And there's already a movie being made about it. It's kind of like reminds me of, remember when the social network came out? Facebook was already a big business, but so much has Facebook has
so much has changed since then.
So much has changed since then. It's no longer just like some dude became a billionaire and whatever. Like there's a lot going on. So I'm really curious to see where Ethereum is going to be 10 years from now and how this portrayal of Vitalik is going to be.
Yeah, it's a sign that, not that there wasn't already enough signs that this is like here to stay and this Web3 shift is a permanent shift. But also, like, we're probably like at the end of chapter 1, which is kind of crazy because it's probably like a 100 chapter story. This whole like blockchain thing.
Yeah,
and it's like I feel like you enter chapter 2 when there's movies about chapter 1.
Yeah,
you watch them in chapter 2.
I think the person that should play Vitalik should be Tom Brady. Did you guys see that?
Dude, he kind of.
Oh yeah,
my
they
God.
do.
So they did a Time magazine cover with Vitalik on it, and a bunch of people said this looks like if Tom Brady. I can pull it up for you guys.
Yeah, I see it right now.
I don't want to be rude, but it does look like if he was if he was malnourished.
Yeah, that's what a bunch of people were saying. Like
Okay.
Someone said, like, anyone else think that he looks like if Tom Brady did meth? There was like a bunch of comments like that. So I think Tom Brady should. But the funniest part about this story is Vitalik had no idea who Tom Brady was.
That's
So he was getting all these replies on it, and he said, "I don't know who Tom Brady is." I had to ask people around me. My best guess was that he was the actor from Mission Impossible. So that's what he knows from coming from Russia, right? It was funny that people were saying that. And then Tom Brady actually replied to Vitalik saying he didn't know who he was. And he said, "That's okay, but I'm a big fan of yours."
Oh, wow, dude.
And then he goes, "If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to have started Autograph, which is his NFT platform." So he at the same time was promoting his NFT effort while at the same time thanking Vitalik. But it was just funny, he came from a non-ego position on that and said that like that. So it was kind of a funny story that way.
Or basically Vitalik just was the alpha there. I don't even know who Tom Brady is.
Yeah.
And then Tom Brady is like, "Hey, I know who you are, man. Thank you."
Yeah, that must honestly feel badass.
Well, I mean, after people were calling him a version of Tom Brady that does meth, it's probably nice to circle around that. And here's the thing, if that guy just looked like himself and didn't look like Tom Brady, no one would say anything negative about how he looks. Just Tom Brady is like a specimen of a human. You know what I mean? He's so fucking healthy and perfect that any version of him that is not as perfect is a version that's doing meth.
Mm-hmm.
Because on his own, Vitalik looks very healthy, but as soon as you put him next to Tom Brady, he looks sick.
Yeah.
Tom Brady with the reverse Captain America super soldier serum.
Yeah.
That's what someone said.
The reverse serum. Damn, dude.
Want to go to the next one?
Yep. So this one's I'm excited about this. I never even heard about this. I guess this has to do with the fact that I've just been busy the last couple of weeks because once I did some research, I realized that patents actually came out a few weeks ago. But Apple is teasing a new single-player gaming controller. Just imagine that your iPhone is kind of like a Nintendo Switch. You can drop your iPhone into a Switch console with the controllers and play Unreal AAA games on your iPhone.
Well, not AAA games. Can't play AAA games.
AAA level games is what I mean.
Okay.
Really, really good games on your iPhone.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That's there's so many on the black, not the black market, but there's so much you can buy on Amazon and all that. So it'd be interesting to see.
But it's not like Apple. It's I feel like Apple's got a bit of a closed. If you're creating some accessory, it's not the same probably as if Apple builds it.
And also too, I don't know how along with the controller, it probably has some sort of APK or integration so that developers can go in and start using the controller to better their experiences,
the game
for their
itself,
games.
rather than it being touch inputs that are modified into controller inputs. Yeah, I think the iPhone itself and the chip is the best chip to game on for mobile phones. There isn't a better phone for games than the iPhone.
Yeah.
But people don't really game on them.
No.
At least
it's super casual.
Yeah, people aren't playing them I never see people play games horizontally. It's more games you play like this.
I have played a couple of games that I've been really addicted to on the
what
side.
Games?
Mini Motorways. It's on Apple Arcade Plus. You should give it a try. It's really fun.
I have Arcade.
You should give it a try. It's called Mini Motorways.
Nice.
It's a game where you have to just build cities and build motors, build highways and then traffic areas so that you can get traffic to go it's really fun and addictive. But yeah, even though I don't play many games, that's just because I don't really play much games, period, right now. I know that a lot of people use it, and that might actually deter a lot of people away from even developing serious applications on the iPhone anyways because of the lack of control support.
No hardware.
Think about how crappy it is. have you ever played those games with the touchscreen joysticks on the device itself?
Yeah, I play Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's sometimes it misses, it doesn't work. It's not nothing is going to beat a joystick, a physical joystick, right?
So I really am curious if they have something as serious as that, if they can even start entering the territory where the more advanced people who play Nintendo 3DS, well, I guess PSP doesn't exist anymore, but that kind of market.
Here's what I'm thinking, and if what I'm thinking is right, you got to buy Apple stock. And this is not financial advice, but
I feel like you should just start off every segment with buy Apple stock.
So here's the thing. So I'm Apple's a great company to be invested in because it's just the amount of profit that they make. But if they do, the rumors are that they're going to release an augmented reality headset, a lightweight augmented reality headset, and a virtual reality headset. I think the first one, the augmented one, might actually be mixed. But basically, there's 3 different headsets that have been in the rumor sphere have been talked about. If you add the gaming controllers to this iPhone, then you now are creating hardware, like controller hardware for the iPhone. That to me looks like it could really quickly become like kind of like the Meta Quest hand controllers.
Oh.
And that really could be where you're powering your VR headset with hardware in your hands, and it's plugged into your phone plugs into the VR headset. And now your iPhone is like a really amazing VR experience.
Gotcha.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like, if they do that well, and they've already got Apple Arcade that they've been building for a while, imagine Apple Arcade VR.
Yeah.
And now you've got like Horizons and VR chat and all those types of applications, like, but you're accessing it with your Apple device and it's always with you, right? So it's like, it's not at home. It's like, it's, you bring it to the office and, do you know what I mean? I think this could be, it's small. It's like an intro into gaming, but gaming is going to augmented reality, virtual reality. And Apple, we know, has been heavily invested in it for a long time. So could Apple like overtake, Xbox and Sony as far as like, regular usability and the,
I don't think so, but I do think they could become a serious like
contender in the space. Like
take some
Nintendo,
market.
Apple,
Yeah.
Microsoft. And the thing is, like, Microsoft is a competitor of theirs on a lot of fronts, and they have a gaming piece of their business.
Yeah.
Apple doesn't really have a gaming piece of their business.
No, not at all. Apart from that 30% like App Store transaction,
which is where they make their money from.
Yeah.
But as far as their own play, they don't have it. And I think everyone knows that AR and VR are going to be motivated by gaming and porn. Really, those are the two industries that are going to really push the technology forward. And Apple needs to get into one of those, and I don't think it's porn. So I could see them definitely getting heavy into gaming to continue to push augmented and virtual reality.
Can I be honest? I forgot about the meme today.
Oh, did you?
Hopefully that doesn't ruin your night.
Wait, hold on. There's one there.
I know. I just did it.
You just did it now?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's appropriate.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest? And I don't know if it's appropriate.
I was looking at the meme as you said that. Sounded like a poor little like puppy dog. Like, I'm sorry.
If you didn't hear a meme just now, it's because we cut it because it was a little bit on the line.
Might do Tom Brady and Vitalik.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, post that meme on social for the listeners.
Yeah.
And
great meme.
We will see you guys next week. Woo. All right.
Not me.
I'll be Storm.
I'll be Caden.
So Caden will be joining. Okay, so for anyone that's here with us right now, we have a special guest. This is our first time having a guest on the show. Caden's going to be in for episode 12.
You know how Vitalik looks like the cracked out version of Tom Brady? Caden looks like the cracked out version of Storm.
I wasn't sure what way you were going to go.
Yeah, I was worried too because Caden's bigger than Storm.
He is. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.